Welcome to episode 75 of The Place of Sound. I'm your host, Natalie Hall. The Place of Sound is a show that explores the theme of space, or social geography, using sound and listening. Usually, we hear work produced in Vincent Andrusani's fourth-year course, Comms 4501, Digital Media Production. But today, the Israeli School of Architecture and Urbanism will be taking over. Last week, we explored the work produced in Professor Susie Harris-Brand's course, Architecture 4300, Theories of Urbanism. The course looks at urban theory, what it is, its geographical constraints, and in the assignments we will be playing today, its potential for otherworldly creation. This episode is the last in our two-part series, and if you haven't listened to the first one, you should go back and hear that one first. The first project we will be listening to is about aquatic urbanism by Chloe, Sarah, and Jessica. They talk architecture in, on, and around water. They'll be looking at several different structures and ranking them on their effectiveness. So here is aquatic urbanism.
Hello! Welcome to the Tide Pod, where we talk all things aquatic. Today, we'll be discussing aquatic urbanism, its importance, and some relevant case studies by examining their features and analyzing their effectiveness.
Starting first with a quick definition, aquatic urbanism refers to any settlements or forms built in relation to water. The definition encapsulates a vast spectrum of water-based developments, ranging from those on, around, or in lakes, rivers, and oceans all around the world. It also refers to an ethos or language of design that manages, controls, or directs water in an urban environment. Although applications of aquatic urbanism have existed for centuries, the water-centric strategy of design has received much more attention over the past 2 decades. The combination of rapid population growth and rising sea levels has been predicted to put 800 million people at risk by 2050, and many people believe aquatic urbanism techniques could mitigate those results significantly. As a result, aquatic urbanism is receiving more research and attention than ever, and has never been more relevant. With that in mind, we will be deep diving into what we think are 5 of the most compelling examples of aquatic urbanism, starting with an overview of each project, then examining what we think makes them effective or not.
Throughout this podcast, we'll be ranking each project on 3 categories: practicality of the proposed solution for both the community and the existing infrastructure, sustainability and climate impact of the solution, and wow factor, which involves the elegance of the solution and the aesthetics of the design.
Starting with a little toe dip into aquatic urbanism, Lunenburg, Nova Scotia is a heritage town initially founded in 1753 as one of the first true efforts of settlement by the British in North America. It operated as an agricultural community at first, but being on the East Coast, the residents soon realized the sea could yield more than the soil. By the end of the 19th century, Lunenburg was one of Canada's busiest fishing ports. Because Lunenburg is one of the earlier applications of aquatic urbanist theories, there aren't any super flashy technologies present, but it doesn't mean no special strategies were employed at all. Special building uses and typologies respond directly to the ocean industry, like fisheries, dories, and, historically, railways. If you ever get the chance to visit, the coastal fishing town makes for an extremely beautiful scene of maritime homes, docks, ships, and houseboats oriented along the beautiful ocean and flora. Unfortunately, much of the land in Lunenburg is vulnerable to the effects of climate change. By 2025, it's anticipated that 7.7 hectares of property parcels and 4,800 meters of roads will be affected by storm surges, erosion, and rising sea levels. Concentrated efforts are underway to safeguard and upgrade outdated buildings and infrastructure. However, this endeavor poses an ongoing challenge in the face of evolving global changes. As for ranking, starting with the wow factor, Lunenburg unfortunately is at a little bit of a disadvantage in this section due to its traditional and simplistic response to the water, but still there's no denying the town's welcoming and endearing style, so it gets half a point for this section. Lunenburg's long history does, however, prove its practicality, so it definitely deserves a full point for practicality. And in terms of sustainability, rising sea levels are posing a large threat to the community, despite locals trying to respond as best as they can. So this section gets half a point as well, resulting in a total score of 2 points.
Our next case study are the Palm Islands in Dubai. The Palm Islands are an ongoing long-term construction project brought about by the Prime Minister of the United Arab Emirates, located off the coast of Dubai. Out of the 3 islands planned, only one is currently completed, known as Palm Jumeirah. Meant to increase tourism and expand the coastline, the distinctive palm shape of the islands is quite recognizable from the air. The way the islands are created involves dredging sand, compacting it with vibrations, and shoring up the foundations with millions of tons of stone. The palm shape is complemented by a crescent-shaped breakwater island that allows for the circulation of seawater around the landmass. Though the construction of the islands was technically legal, several loopholes in local environmental law were used to cut corners. This involved the partial collapse and interruption of a coral reef, several instances of local wildlife being eradicated, and an increase in turbidity, or haziness of the seawater due to particles. The treatment of ocean sediments has been deeply impacted as well, and the temperature of the seawater has risen an astonishing 7.5 degrees Celsius in the 20 years since construction. Though the architects took care to provide further animal habitats onshore and mitigate the effect of flooding, it is not enough to displace the harm they have done. In light of these environmental concerns, the Palm Islands get no point for climate impact and sustainability. Practicality also does not gain a point, as Palm Jumeirah is slowly sinking due to rising sea levels. This project was largely created as a hive for consumerism due to its extremely upscale retail and housing, and therefore had no solution-based thinking in its design. On wow factor, we give a full point for the extreme level of planning and design that went into its creation, resulting in full total of 1 point.
Schoonship, located in Buiksloterham, north of Amsterdam, is a groundbreaking Dutch project that certainly embodies the essence of aquatic urbanism. The name itself, Dutch for clean ship, reflects its commitment to sustainability and innovative living. This small-scale initiative, lasting over a decade in development, transformed an industrial area into a residential haven. Comprised of 46 homes for 100 residents, Schoonship emphasizes self-sufficiency and environmental consciousness. The architectural design of Schoonship is characterized by floating pontoon structures that rise and fall with water levels, providing resilience against tidal surges. The community's homes boast solar panels and heat pumps for heating, and plans are underway to convert wastewater into energy. Some residences even feature green roofs, contributing to the project's commitment to sustainable living. Additionally, Schoonship includes multi-residential arcs resembling duplexes and utilizes end-of-life shipping containers to create floating student accommodations. Schoonship sets itself apart with its unyielding dedication to sustainability. The project's commitment to circularity and employing green technologies showcase modern living. Furthermore, the firm uses an open-source approach with all of its innovations, proving even more their desire to contribute positively to residents and the environment. The only potential problem could be that the small scale of the project and its duration of over 10 years may present challenges when compared to larger developments. In terms of wow factor, Schoonship earns a full point for its elegant and forward-thinking design that transforms an industrial area into a floating neighborhood. Practicality is also commendable, with the community's self-sufficiency initiatives and resilience against rising water levels. Lastly, sustainability receives a full point for the project's focus on circularity, green technologies, and innovative approaches to waste management. This Dutch aquatic urbanism project scores a total of 3 points on the 3-point ranking system.
The next project we'll be talking about is the Manta Ray Project, also called the City of Mariannes, conceived by French architect Jacques Rougerie. It envisions a futuristic university city shaped like a manta ray. Still in the conceptual stage since 2009, the city plans to house 7,000 international researchers, professors, and students, and boast classrooms, labs, living quarters, and leisure facilities. It aims to be completely sustainable and autonomous, relying on renewable marine energy and producing zero waste. With dimensions of 900 meters by 500 meters, the city is projected to be realized in 2050, following a network of Sea Orbiter's Sentinel ships. The design includes aquaculture breeding farms and emphasizes sustainability through the integration of renewable marine resources. Given that the Manta Ray project is still in the conceptual stage, a comprehensive analysis is challenging. However, the vision laid out by Rougerie showcases a commitment to sustainability, autonomy, and the integration of marine resources. The proposal aligns with the principles of aquatic urbanism by utilizing the ocean not just as a setting, but as an integral part of the city's functioning. The challenge lies in the execution and realization of this project, considering its scale and reliance on future technologies. The Manta Ray project earns a full point for wow factor due to its visionary and unique design and manta ray shape. Practicality is challenging to assess at this stage, but the proposed functionality and purpose of the City of Mariannes are noteworthy, earning half a point. Sustainability and climate impact gain half a point as well, because while the project commits to using renewable energy and zero waste, there seems to be no regard for sourcing low-impact materials. Despite being in the conceptual stage, the Manta Ray project presents an exciting prospect, scoring a total of 2 points on our ranking system.
The city of Wuhan in China was formerly known as City of 100 Lakes, located at the intersection of the Han and Yangtze rivers. A torrential flood in 2016 accelerated retrofitting of the city on a massive scale, as metro stations and roads flooded, causing several casualties. 228 projects are underway in the city, involving absorptive pavement, grass bioswales, drainage lakes, created wetlands, and rain gardens. The cost of these amount to 11 billion yuan, or 2.1 billion Canadian. 38.5 square kilometers of the city have been retrofitted thus far. The ultimate goal is 80% of the city containing sponge features, with 70% of water retained on-site for discharge into the river. This site, upon completion, will be able to withstand a 1 in 30-year storm event, which is far off compared to other cities such as Tokyo, which can handle a 1 in 100-year storm event. The low topography, elimination of all but 30 lakes, and the outdated drainage system makes this extremely difficult and incredibly expensive. Wow factor definitely gets a point. The various projects are stunning and contribute greatly to the public realm and citizen experience. Practicality gets 1 point also, as the adverse conditions they're developing over are getting overcome, as well as you could expect that they're clearly not afraid to spend money. However, on sustainability and climate impact, they are getting half a point. They have to correct for the intense contamination of local watersheds previously, as well as their intense lean towards gray solutions, those that involve concrete rather than the natural fixes they're using today.
Our final case study is the fabled city of Atlantis. According to two of Plato's works, the island of Atlantis lay beyond the Strait of Gibraltar and enjoyed the protection of many successful pirates. They were defeated by the Athenians, and for their wickedness and sin, their island sank. Though it is likely fictional, Atlantis may reference the island of Thera as recorded by ancient Egyptians. Though little is mentioned by Plato about the infrastructure of Atlantis, it has been depicted many times in popular media. Given that the island sank, it was not meant to be underwater at all, and can safely be given no points for practicality. However, a case can be made that the sinking of the island would have provided a rich base for sea life to inhabit, resulting in half a point for sustainability after the silt had settled. A point undoubtedly also has to go to wow factor for the sheer aesthetic, resulting in a total of 1.5 points. These have been our thoughts on just a few of the fascinating cases of aquatic urbanism seen across the globe. According to the 3-point ranking system, our most exemplary project is Schoonship with 3 points, and our lowest ranking are the Palm Islands with just 1. How would you rank your community on the scale? Thanks for listening, and stay crabulous.
Thank you so much for that dive into aquatic urbanism, pun intended. Now we have something a little bit different. Extraterrestrial beings telling the story of the architecture of their homelands. This work, produced by Denise, Yesha, and Shela, is a fictionalized account of what urbanism would look like on different planets.
Hey podcasters, I'm your host Shela, and you are listening to Down the Block, a weekly podcast where we learn about the different urbanism theories. This week, we will be discussing speculative science fiction urbanism. As urbanists, I'm sure you all have seen the amazing movies and artworks in this realm. But for those unfamiliar, speculative sci-fi urbanism is a mix of thought experiments on the future of our cities and are often based on current social, political, and economical events. Visualizations of the future have been very different, ranging from a high-tech, futuristic utopia to something more apocalyptic and other forms of dystopia. We will be discussing a series of compelling case studies, under construction and entirely speculative, located here on Earth Z10, and even in the metaverse. Joining us virtually are two individuals that are leading and contributing to amazing works of speculative sci-fi urbanism. Crestia is a world-renowned starchitect and has worked on global-scale projects such as Oceanic City and The Line. We are also joined by Astrid, a programming professor in LA on the planet Earth Z10 in the same year, 2024. Crestia and Astrid, welcome to the show.
Greetings, dear listeners. As I tinker away at my RoboPups code, I'm absolutely thrilled to join you on this remarkable podcast. Today, I'll be delving into my rich experiences as an educator, unraveling the intricacies of programming, and perhaps even sprinkling in a few futuristic anecdotes. So fasten your seatbelts, adjust your neural interfaces, and let's embark on this captivating journey together.
Hey peeps, Crestia in the house. I'm just not your average futuristic girl. Picture floating cities, holographic wonders, and all the tech magic you can imagine. Yep, that's right. I'm just about rocking the future with style and a green touch. I'm currently based in Oceanic City by Beg in Busan, which is a floating, modular, and prefabricated project that is designed to be able to withstand buoyancy in tropical storms. While there's an Oceanic City in East Asia, the Middle East, and North Europe now, the first prototype was built here in Busan in 2025, so next year for you, Shela!
Oh, that's so cool. What's the vibe like in Oceanics Busan now?
So basically, Busan Oceanics opened in 2028, spanning 6 hectares with building ranging from 1 to 5 levels tall. It is completely self-sufficient with its own vertical farming, hydroponics, and aerophonic systems. Our waste system is designed to be converted into energy through recycling and composting initiatives, and we've also got lots of renewable energy generated on site, such as solar, wind, and tidal energy. As I am with you all in the podcast episode, within my subaquatic office, the transparent walls afford me panoramic vistas of the intricate oceanic coral ecosystems. In the year 2070, our scientific endeavors have borne fruit in the form of coral sustanium, a groundbreaking compound meticulously designed to enhance the vitality and resilience of coral colonies worldwide.
Wow, I've read so much about the Oceanic City project, but it's so different from any architecture that I know. The Los Angeles from where I'm from is also very different from the one on your Earth, and it's so insane to think that our population has now grown over 20 million, so it only makes sense that we've managed to build some of LA up to a mile high. But sadly, I wish I got outside more, but I'm always stuck inside programming. Regardless, it's not as if I even feel safe to do so. Before obtaining my PhD in computer science, still, however, occasionally, had entertaining nights out on the street level. Now, that's practically unthinkable to me. It's a whole other ecosystem down there. The rogue replicants, that's where you'll find them. The thugs and the crime, all running rampant. The view is much nicer from my apartment anyway. All the worst parts of LA are only a small twinkle in the ground. One of my colleagues, Sid Mead, said it best. The street levels have become the basement, and decent people just don't want to go there. Decent people, including me. At the very least, we have sky lobbies, so thankfully we don't have to travel all the way to the floor. Shopping is primarily done online anyway. The RoboPup I mentioned earlier, programming its behavior to match that of domestic canines of the past is part of my research. But if you want to order one, they'll show up right at your doorstep. It's part of the DG, or Digital Companion line.
What brand? Apple?
No, Wallace Corp, of course. They only produce the best. And who has time to go outside, touch grass, as if there's any, and meet up with friends? Who needs third places? The sky lobbies are enough for socializing. My version of going out now is taking my spinner for a quick ride. If I really wanted to get on the street level, this is the closest I can get without actually setting foot on the ground. Are your vehicles airborne in your LA?
Interesting. Your recounts actually remind me of Blade Runner. Have you seen that movie?
Nope, never heard of it.
Oh, okay. Well, on another note, sorry to disappoint Astrid, but there are no flying cars yet in 2024 on our Earth. The most recent inventions are the driverless cars from Tesla, though it would be a dream for these inventions to finally exist. Speaking of innovations, Crescia, tell us about the Line City which you contributed to in 2030. The construction has started for Phase 1, and I cannot wait to visit it in Saudi Arabia one day. Is the future truly free of cars?
Okay, so the future has to eliminate private vehicles to minimize carbon emissions and to create tighter communities. The line that I'm working on is the cognitive city unfolding across 170 kilometers with public infrastructure that allows people to travel end to end in only like 20 minutes. So we commute on daily basis, not because we have to, but because we want to. It will be a height of 500 meters above sea level while cleverly optimizing space within a slender 200-meter wide. For the aimed population density of 260,000 people at such a relatively small-scale footprints of 34 square kilometers, that makes 95% of the land will be preserved for nature.
Wait, how does land ownership work?
So in the realm of scientific advancement and the dynamic landscape of cryptocurrency, the issue of land rights has become a paramount concern for stakeholders engaged in this process. While aspirations to house approximately 9 million people, the allocation of the land takes on heightened significance, especially within the context of evolving digital currencies and their potential impact on economic structures and property ownership.
A few years back, cryptocurrency like Ethereum and Bitcoin received so much investment but plummeted in 2022. I didn't think they were coming back. But there's definitely hype on AI these days with ChatGPT. So, Astrid, Earth Z10 seems to heavily rely on modern technologies such as AI. As researchers and designers in the field, how do you think your roles are changing with such rapid technology at your fingertips? Right now, in 2024, there's a divide between people totally leveraging its abilities versus ones that are so scared of it. Is your outlook on AI the same, or is it different?
It's funny that you asked that because I was wondering the same thing. Most, if not all, my classes are virtual reality, which is fine, but now our projects are starting to focus on the virtual realm as well. I find that we don't really socialize in person on Earth Z10 that much since it's less than ideal to travel, so the designs we learn are more speculative and based in VR rather than physically existent. And this isn't directly in my line of research, but the DG line of Joy is a case study that I give to my students to study. The newest model is most comparable to a portable hologram.
Wait, joy as in I feel joy?
Wallace was really clever with naming their products. It's essentially a domestic partner programmed to emotionally satisfy all your needs. They are much different than replicants, however, the non-artificial artificial intelligence, if you will. Replicants can malfunction and start to authentically feel and obey orders, unlike the DG line. Anyways, ever since the metaverse boom, we've been creating designs remotely and digitally instead.
For those unfamiliar, the metaverse is where famous firms such as Zaha Hadid Architects or Zaha are pushing boundaries. This is reshaping how we visualize architecture because it is no longer about how spaces look in 2D, but how they feel in 3D as well. The metaverse is a canvas for architectural experimentation. With no urban planning limitations, it's a playground for creativity. There is this one cyber-urban city called Liverland, designed by Zaha, which is meant for networking and collaboration between metaverse developers and the crypto ecosystem. From the comfort of your own home, you can log into the Liverland metaverse through a platform called Metaverse, and you can explore all of the exclusive architecture Zaha designed in their signature curvaceous style.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that project. So once you're inside, you become avatars and explore the city, right? It's like stepping into a digital realm.
That's right, Crestia. But what I find interesting about this universe is that even though gravity technically shouldn't exist, some designs still use structural columns. Zaha designer Patrick Schumacher stresses the importance of architectural fundamentals like columns as language expressions and space dividers. In such a hyper-digital realm, preserving and applying architectural knowledge seems to be the key. Crestia, I'm curious, how has your role as an architect changed in this digitalized landscape?
So, in 2017, my role as an architect has transformed, driven by technology and futuristic ideas. Beyond traditional blueprints, I use augmented reality and cutting-edge simulations to craft immersive urban experiences which we use to visualize the built environment and feel it around us. Collaboration with technologists is seamless, incorporating data-driven designs and AI, which makes our task of drafting next to zero. Sustainability is key, focusing on eco-conscious designs with modular and adaptable architecture. Blockchain technology is often integrated into the metaverse, allowing architects to ensure the authenticity and ownership of their digital creations. Smart contracts are used to manage intellectual property rights and enable architects to monetize their virtual designs.
That sounds like such a hyper-organized system you have there, which is probably handy to have for such mega projects like the Oceanic City and the Line. I cannot wait for us in 2024 to reach 2070 and to be able to experience the spaces you have designed. And Astrid, it has been fascinating learning about your high-tech consumer society at Earth Z10 and looking at how Metaverse supports your research. I'm not sure when in the future we'll be able to travel to your universe, but I hope we get to do so one day. This has been such a thought-provoking conversation. Thank you to the both of you.
Thank you for having me here. It was an interesting conversation about those amazing projects we talked about. It was nice meeting you, Professor Astrid. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.
What a joy it was learning from the both of you and being given the opportunity to talk about my home city of Los Angeles on Earth Z10. Remember, in the metaverse, the sky's not the limit, it's just the beginning.
That was so amazing, and it makes me feel like aliens aren't the enemies, they're really our friends. I want to give my sincere thanks to all the scholars that contributed to this episode, and I also want to thank Dr. Harris-Brantz for being so open to this collaboration. If you like this series, in our next episode, we'll be taking a close look at the work of one urbanism student. For now, have a look at theplaceofsound.ca where you can see writings and photos that go along with the audio work. And you can also stay up to date by following us on Instagram at theplaceofsound. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you all had a great time, and as always, happy listening.